Welcome back. So continuing on with our 2025 season previews for High Limit Racing this coming season. Moving on to one of the guys that is one of the favorites for the championship this year to try and contend with Brad Sweet to end his dominance of six straight. Well, he's on six straight now, going for seven straight national championships. And that, of course, is Tyler Courtney, who has come a long ways in a very short amount of time in his wing sprint car career. We all know how good he was in USAC and quickly made a name for himself here with the wing on top of the car as well. Tyler Courtney, at the time of this recording, is 30 years old. He is from Indianapolis, Indiana, driving a Schnee Lawson chassis for Clausen Marshall Racing. The crew chief on the car is Jake Argo. The car chief is Bob Lamond. I hope I'm saying that right. And the tire specialist is Cameron Burley. So going over here to the 2025 schedule, looking at the racetracks that Tyler Courtney has been to and won at, and the tracks that he has not been to before, there's a stark difference here, and it's a difference that we have not seen yet in these season previews. For Tyler Courtney, he's only got 5 tracks, or make that 8 tracks on the list here that he has not been to before. And on this side of the board, he has 14 tracks that he has won at in his career that are on the High Limit Racing schedule this coming season. So Arizona Speedway is a track that he has not been to. There's 2 races there at the beginning of the year, along with Vado, Route 66 in Texas, Dodge City, Kansas, Texarkana, 141, Red Cedar, and Florence Speedway. All those racetracks Tyler Courtney has not been to before. So 8 tracks, I think that's tied for the least amount we've seen so far. Brent Marks also had 8 tracks on his list. But this is, like I said, the most we've seen as far as wins at particular racetracks. 14 for Tyler Courtney, which is not the most. I'm not going to spoil who that is. We'll get to him later on. But Eldora, Kokomo, Port Royal, Lake Ozark, Tri-City, Lucas Oil, Lawrenceburg, Tulare, Fremont, Grandview, Lernerville, Skagit, Bridgeport, and Butler are all racetracks that Tyler Courtney has won at before in his career, whether that's in a midget, a non-wing car, a 410 wing sprint car. He has visited Victory Lane at those racetracks that are on the schedule this year with High Limit. Now, on the far end there, we've got the SprintCarRatings.com ranking for Tyler Courtney. Last year, they had him as the 6th best driver overall in 2024 in sprint car racing. And in parentheses there, you'll see 3rd. That means he was the 3rd best out of the full-time high-limit drivers last year, with Brad Sweet and Rico Abreu in front of him. Now, moving on to his best 2024 stat, he actually had the most dash wins out of anybody. I think he was actually tied with one other driver, but 4 dash wins last year for him. And he was also 2nd in heat race wins. He had 12 of those. So usually when you win the heat race, you're going to the dash, and he was able to win 4 of those dashes as well. So it makes sense that those 2 things would correlate there. And he was 2nd in points last year, finishing just 1 point ahead of Rico Abreu at the final race at Texas. If you remember back to that one, they were running into each other almost and going crazy out there the last couple of laps in that one, and Courtney was able to hold off Rico for that 2nd position. Now, right here, we've got his stat line from last year with just High Limit Racing. In 2024, he had 6 wins with the series, which does not, I thought he had more. Like, I know I went to every race last year and covered it all year long, but I feel like he had more, but only 6 wins last year for Tyler Courtney. 24 top 5s, 34 top 10s, 188 laps led, a plus minus of plus 31, 7.0 qualifying average, and a finishing average of 8.2. So definitely some really, really good numbers there from Tyler Courtney, but unfortunately, let me double check here. He was still 297 points behind Brad Sweet when it came to the overall championship point standings. Now, down here at the bottom, we'll get into his strengths, and there's a lot of them. Tyler Courtney is a multi-time champion in 410 sprint cars, I don't know if he's multi-time in the non-wing car as well, but he's won championships for a long time, right? So he's been there and done that, which is one of the things I have here on the list. He's won big races. He's won championships. He's been in contention for the Knoxville Nationals. He's won the Kings Royal, right? All of these big races, he's been there. He's done that. He's won championships, and I think that can only help him in the long run. Also, I feel like he is good in all situations. What I mean by that is, doesn't matter the track size, what the banking, the grip level of the racetrack. If it's slick, if it's tacky, he's good on either of those. Big tracks, small tracks, medium tracks. He has got it all figured out. And so I think obviously that has got to be a huge strength compared to some other guys out there that maybe don't have all of that experience, especially with the experience of running well. I mean, you can go to all these different racetracks, but if you're running 19th every night, does that really do much for you? Not really. I mean, Tyler Courtney's won on just about every type of racetrack that you can think of. And I feel like he is in position a lot to win so many races. And I have in parentheses there 15 because he led 15 main events last year with High Limit Racing and only had 6 wins. So 15, I had to do a triple check on that one when I saw it on the dirttracker.com website. 15 races he led last year and only able to win 6 of them. And also on this list, I have team chemistry. So him and Jake Argo have been together since pretty much Tyler Courtney was a full-time wing sprint car driver. And I think they were together even before that when he was doing the non-wing stuff as well. But Tyler Courtney, Jake Argo, they seem to have a really good relationship. And as I mentioned earlier, they've won all these races. They've won all these championships with the All-Stars and everything together. And so I think when you take that into account, I mean, you know, you could have said the same thing about Brad Sweet last year, but that isn't the case anymore. Brad Sweet does not have that same chemistry that he had with Eric Prutzman, as now Ty Wolfgang is the crew chief. They've had some good runs early on in that pairing, but will that team chemistry, will it be able to catch up quickly, and will they be able to continue that success here at the beginning of the season? I think that having 2 guys together for a very long time, like Tyler Courtney and Jake Argo, that is definitely an advantage for them, especially considering what's going on with the Napa Auto Parts 49 team right now. Not saying that they've been slow, because they have obviously been very, very fast, but still you got to keep that in mind. Now, things for him to improve on here, the West Coast swing. I think I was talking about Brent Marks with this one too. The West Coast swing was a complete disaster and basically what lost the championship for Tyler Courtney at the end of the day, because you know, after Lernerville, before going to the West Coast swing, Tyler Courtney was close to Brad Sweet. I want to say it was less than 40 or 30 points between the two of them before they went out to California. Listen to the finishes that happened out there on the West Coast swing for this team. So things started off great. They ran 6th at Tulare. They got a win at King Speedway, passing Brad Sweet late in the race. You're thinking, well, okay, this looks like it's going to go pretty well for these guys. But no, after that, finishes of 19th, 10th, 21st, 20. My phone had a little bit of an issue right there. So as I was saying, they started off really good on the West Coast with a win at King Speedway, a 6th place run at Tulare to open things up. But then things really fell off the rails. 19th at Placerville, 10th at Chico, 21st at Chico, 23rd at Douglas County. They were 2nd at Grays Harbor. Wow, things are turning around. Nope. Go to Skagit, 17th, 19th, and 20th. So the West Coast swing was not very good at all for this team and this driver. Really, and the other thing that I have out there is more top 10s. I mean, they had 34 top 10 finishes, which sounds like a lot. I mean, you have 51 races, 34 top 10s. That's pretty darn good. But when you think about it, Brad Sweet had 44 or 45 top 10s. So Tyler Courtney, when he's got a 13th place car, needs to somehow turn it into a 9th place finish. Or just needs to not have every single thing go wrong for him on the West Coast. That might also help out in that top 10 department. He had 4 DNFs last year as well, a lot of those coming on the West Coast, but still, in order to win one of these championships, you cannot have 4 DNFs, especially when you're racing against a guy like Brad Sweet. And then at the very bottom there, the consistency. You gotta be, I mean, Tyler Courtney knows this. He's won a couple of All-Star Circuit of Champions titles before. So he knows how to be consistent, right? We've seen him do it before, and he was unbelievably consistent to start off the year, which is where I have my next point over here off on my laptop here. I mean, at the very beginning of the season, a 5.6 average finish from the first half of the year, and then to the second half of the year, it was 11.0. So I think that can all get tied back into the West Coast swing as well. You know, I think after that West Coast swing, they realized that, man, we're way out of this championship. And I think the spirits got down maybe on the team as well. But the consistency all the way throughout the season, that is something this team needs to hone in on as well. I think just that, I mean, the West Coast swing, I mean, that is really what killed these guys when you really think about it. Now, the prediction for him this year, I've got him from first to third in points. I think that that's the easiest thing you could do right there. It's either he's going to upset Brad Sweet and finally somebody's going to beat him in a championship, or he's going to run third to Rico Abreu, and Abreu's going to upset, or he's going to run second, or whatever, right? I think it's going to be him, Rico, and Brad Sweet going for those first three positions, and hopefully I've also got that on there, keeping Brad Sweet much, much closer than what we saw this year, 297 points behind when it's all said and done at Texas Motor Speedway. If Tyler Courtney can either be in front of Brad Sweet at Texas or within 40, 50 points, I think that would be a huge step up in this team, right? I mean, getting that much closer to winning a championship. Also, 6 to 8 wins is what I have him predicted right now. He had 6 wins last year, which I don't think was as many as they were hoping for, especially when they led 15 races. I think that he could have more than 6 to 8 wins. I mean, you lose Corey Day off the series. There goes, I mean, he had 10 or 11 wins last year. So that's going to open things up more on a regular basis for other guys to win, meaning a guy like Tyler Courtney. So I think he could have more than 6 to 8 wins. And then I also think he's going to get 2 $50,000 or more wins this year with High Limit Racing. Got the big win, the Commonwealth Clash at Lernerville. That was $50,000 to win. He's won races at Port Royal before, and there's 2 races that pay over $50,000 to win there. I think usually he's good at Skagit Speedway. He just had bad luck. He could get a win there. Obviously, that one pays over $100,000 to win. So I think it's safe to say that you could put Tyler Courtney in that category of winning 2 $50,000 or more races this year. And that goes with the Outlaws as well. I think he could win a couple Outlaw races too. So let me know your thoughts on Tyler Courtney. What do you think he's going to do this year? Do you think he beats Brad Sweet in the championship? Do you think he runs third in points and Rico and Brad, kind of duke it out for this championship this year? Let me know all your thoughts. How many wins does he get? Does he go better on the West Coast swing? I'd like to interact with you guys in the comment section below. Also hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, and we'll talk to you guys again here tomorrow on the Rodman Rundown. We will go over another driver and their season preview for 2025 with Kubota High Limit Racing. Thank you all so much for watching. We'll talk to you again soon.